Hey guys, this video is to just show you how to navigate around Canvas, where to find our course material, how to mess with the settings and stuff like that. So let me jump right in. So when you guys log into your course in Canvas, you'll come to a page that looks like this. You can scroll down. These guys right here are called modules. At the very top of the modules, it's going to show my three most recent announcements. As you can see for this class, I've posted a few already. Uh, if you want to find the rest of the announcements, the ones in the past, you could click on this announcements tab in the what we call the navigation panel over here. It's called the navigation panel. Right now, we're on the home page. You can see that little bar indicating that we're on the home page. And as you pick different tabs, you'll move to different pages. So for example, if I move to the announcements tab, you can see that that bar is now in front. These are where all of the previous announcements are at. Let's see, as far as meeting with me on Zoom, you're going to use this button. What this will do is it'll open up Zoom kind of automatically and connect to my room. I have a fixed room that you guys can connect to. So if we ever have a meeting set up, maybe one-on-one or something like that, you can click there and I'll be waiting for you. All right. Wolfram Cloud, we'll talk about that soon. That just takes you to the website Wolfram Cloud. This is where you can check your grades for the semester. Keep in mind that when we use MyLab, it does take a day or so for the grades to update from MyLab to Canvas. So if it takes longer than that or you notice some kind of issue, just let me know. I can go in and usually fix it right away. Um, it happens throughout the semester, but don't worry if your grades don't update right away. It does take a little time. Our syllabus is located here. I'll go ahead and click that. So your syllabus is located there. And this button we're going to use once, maybe twice. It's just to get registered into this My Lab program that we're using. All right, so that's all the buttons for the navigation panel. I'll come back and go through the syllabus in just a second, but did want to show you kind of the general structure of what you're going to be looking at the whole semester. Over on the far right here, you're going to see a list of things that are kind of coming up to do. I would try not to pay too much attention to those, or I wouldn't count on those because it doesn't exactly play well with MyLab, which is an external program we use. So just pay attention to the due dates. You'll see that in just a minute. Over on the far, actually over here, you can see our course calendar. You can also get to the calendar over on the far left here. Course stream, I haven't used that. I don't think we're going to be using that. But I did want to point this out. Everyone should do this. If you go ahead and click View Course Notifications, all right, I'm in the student view. I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like. It looks something like this. This is a teacher version, but essentially what it is it will send you notifications via either push notifications on your mobile device, or it'll send you an email to your school email address, or both, for all these kind of different things that happen during the semester. So what I'd definitely like you to do is go over here and turn on the notifications for announcements. And I think that's probably the main one I want you to do. That's it. I mean, you can turn on other things too, but you really need to um, get notified with those announcements. You're going to want to check those. You're kind of required to make sure you read those things within 24 hours of me posting them. And sometimes it's pretty important information. The rest of the stuff we don't need, but yeah, just kind of pick and choose what you think would be important for this class. All right. So what else here? Okay, let's go. See, I'm in the teacher version. Let me go over to the student view. There we go. Okay, student view. All right, over here on the far left, this is called the global navigation panel. I mentioned that there's a calendar there, so you can actually see when we have stuff due. I've set it up so that pretty much, except for the first day when we have some, orientation stuff to kind of get through, you pretty much have one section a day to get through, but there's three parts to each of these sections. One of them's optional. It's for extra credit. We'll talk about that later. That's the MyLab notebooks, but we'll get to that later. How do I get back here? I guess I have to go back here. Ah, not used to the student version. There it is. Okay. What else? You can access your courses here. This is another way to access your courses. As far as emailing me general questions, you're going to be using this Canvas messaging system. If you click there, it's pretty self-explanatory if you get in there. I know it says I have 135 messages, but that's because I respond on my computer and it doesn't knock the count down, so it forwards to my computer. In any case, I do answer all of my emails and I usually do it right away. So usually within a day, as long as it's within the work week, sometimes real soon. I'm on my computer quite a bit. We don't use Studio. We don't use any of this. That's pretty much it. There is an assignment where I'd like you to upload a picture of yourself right here. Many of you already have pictures of yourself uploaded, but just follow the instructions in the Getting Started module. Here it is right here. Here's the Getting Started module. These are the things that I'd like you to do right away, ideally before the class starts. Some people have already done it, but we do need to, download and install some applications, including the Wolfram Player. You'll need to do this on a desktop or laptop computer. Can't be a Chromebook, unfortunately. So you can still get through the class without the Wolfram Player, but it's going to make it much more enjoyable and easier to learn the player, or easier to learn the class with the player. We're also going to be using the Chrome browser. So pretty much the programs that we use are supported on Chrome, not so much the other ones. It may work for a little bit, but I would highly suggest you install the Chrome browser. We're also going to be uh, using a mobile device to take pictures of stuff and uploading it. So in order to do that, really everyone needs to have the Canvas student app. You should have that anyway. So the idea is to download the Canvas student app onto your mobile device. That's either an iPhone, an iPad, or like a Samsung Galaxy Android device, something like that. Here's the links for the download at the stores. Once you do that, make sure you sign in. Just use your regular Canvas student sign in. The nice thing about this is once you do this, you'll start getting notifications on your phone when I send out an announcement, so you don't have to log in every day. Also, we're going to be using this program called Genius Scan for uploading written work. So also there's one for iOS, one for Android. And the idea with this is it basically allows you to take PDF pictures and combine them into a single file and upload them for grading. And if you try just taking pictures using your camera app, it won't work. It has to be a single PDF file. So I would recommend everyone get or use this. I know some students like Cam Scanner, that would be okay too. But in general, everyone should be using this. All right. And then when you're done with this assignment, make sure to click that start assignment there, and you can just copy and paste and just make sure that you've satisfied the requirements for this assignment. All right, what else? So the next thing I wanted you to do is to upload a picture of yourself. Just follow the instructions in there. It's not too bad. Then you need to register for MyLab Access. So in this course, we're using a third-party program. It's a learning platform. I think the cost is somewhere between $75 to $100. It comes with your textbook. It comes with all the problems that we do. They're algorithmically generated, so students get different problems. It will give you feedback on the problems. It'll have lots of examples to help you. But in any case, I do need everyone to register for MyLab Access and make sure you do the 18-week one. And if you don't do this by the end of the first day of class, you could be dropped. We've got I've got students wanting to add the class, and I need to make sure that we get everyone in the class who wants to start working right away. Now, if for some reason that you don't have some funds for a few days, that's okay. They do have a temporary access, MyLab access, and what this will do is it'll grant you temporary, I think it's like 14 days of access, and that way you're not dropped on the first day. And the instructions for getting the full access or the temporary access are actually here, so just kind of follow along. It should be pretty good. They change stuff every once in a while, but here's the, let's see. You're probably going to use option B. I don't know if you can read that, but it says use a credit card. But again, if you don't have money right now and you want to wait, or you just want to kind of feel out this class without uh, putting money into it, see if it's right for you, you might want to do option C, which is temporary free access for 14 days. All right, but you got to make sure to upgrade by the end of the 14 days. I would say by the end of the first week, you should have a good idea of whether this class is for you. All right. All right. So just kind of follow the instructions. And when you're done, you're going to submit this statement to let me know that you've completed that. All right. Next, I made some handouts for you. Um, they're down at the bottom. It says explore reference handouts. Basically just telling you to, hey, look at these handouts down at the bottom. There's one that I want you to print. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom right here, reference handouts. These are a great resource for helping you build your cheat sheets for your exam. So this one right here, I do need you to print out and kind of have with you as you're working on your problems. What it is essentially is a document explaining how to handwrite mathematical notation. Read through this carefully. You know, this is kind of an issue every time I teach calculus and differential equations. There's little things that mess students up on exams and any kind of written work. And it has to do with the ambiguity of of using so many symbols. You know, normally in the English language, we've only got 26 letters and we've got the context of the sentences to kind of figure out if something looks a little funny, if we write something weird. But when you're doing something mathematical, like a calculus class, you're mixing words and symbols from different alphabets, and it gets really confusing. So what you have to do is you have to clean up your written work. So this is what you would see in a textbook, and there's very little ambiguity in a textbook. That's the nice thing about a textbook, or in a program. It's type-faced and everyone can see exactly what everything is. When you start writing, however, things get a little tricky. For example, which one of these is a zero? I've seen all of these, and I'll tell you this, that one is not a zero. That's called the empty set. That's that's something different. That's not a zero either. That's the Greek letter phi. That's how you write a zero. So I will be checking for this and possibly marking down on your extra credit, or at least mentioning that you need to clean up your written work. It's a bunch of stuff. For example, when you're writing a two, I'm sorry, when you're writing your Z's, make sure that you put the slash through the Z. Otherwise, it looks like a two and it becomes ambiguous. Same thing with the four. Make sure your fours are open up. You know, a lot of people draw their fours. They get sloppy and sometimes look like nines. You know, there's confusion between the number five and the letter S. So make sure that you do a hard cap on that. Even sevens and ones, you need that line there. Nines and G's. This is a big one right here. We use T a lot. T and plus. Put that little curly Q on the end. That's really important. Okay, read through all of this, and I will give you some feedback as I'm looking through some of your written work if you submit any for extra credit to kind of help you with that. Um, so not only does this help the reader and help me give you more points on an exam when stuff gets ambiguous, it'll actually help you too because you'll be able to understand what you wrote down. I don't know if you've ever seen a bunch of T's and pluses next to each other. I see it all the time in algebra and they just write, it looks just like a bunch of pluses. So if you can clean that up, you'll be able to distinguish the different symbols and your mind will be able to follow along with what you're reading and writing. Okay, so that one I wanted you to print out. So go ahead and print that one out. The rest of this stuff is just reference. So for example, there's some stuff from algebra, trigonometry, geometry, and trig that we will probably use. Not all of it, but a lot of it we'll use. So for example, if you click here, there's a little algebra review, some rules of exponents, some factoring formulas, quadratic formula over there, the binomial theorem. I think we do use that at some point. Um, so we also have a little geometry review. You have areas of these different geometric shapes. We also have three-dimensional versions. You have volume and you have surface area. Just a bunch of stuff. Here's some equations of lines, and that's basic algebra stuff and circles. In any case, go ahead and look through there. You can print all these out if you like. It might be helpful. I even have a bunch for Calc 1 and Calc 2. So limits, that was Calc 1. So these are kind of the basics of what we learned in Calc 1. And you might want to use these for reference to kind of go back and be like, oh, how do you take the limit of a sum? Oh, it's the sum of the limits. But you can print these out and, try and all of this stuff you're kind of expected to kind of know, but, you kind of forget stuff and you come back and you review. So you might want to print them out too, but it's up to you. But the big reason I like putting this in here at the end is, you know, um, let's see, that's going to be Calc 2 stuff down here. Essentially, you're going to be creating this cheat sheet to kind of get ready for your exams. And I think a lot of people, they don't really know how to write one. Maybe they've never done one before, but the idea is to write down important formulas and ideas and concepts. And these formulas in here will give you an idea of the things you want to kind of put on your sheet. You can't put everything down, so you kind of put down the things that you need, things that maybe you think you'll forget or something like that. For example, I always forget, maybe, yeah, some of these. I don't work in polar coordinates too much, but finding derivatives in polar coordinates, I kind of forget this quite a bit. All right. Okay. So that would be the handouts. So I'll close that up. And what else? Oh, we're also going to be using this online program called the Wolfram Cloud. Uh, this is a program developed by Wolfram Research. I think they've been around for like 35 years. In my opinion, it's the best software for mathematicians, scientists, and engineers. I know we have MATLAB's really good for engineers, but Mathematica can do, I would argue, quite a bit more. It actually was used to create our textbook, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So we're going to be using it a little bit. One of the things I'm asked to do when I teach this course is to expose you to a little programming. So it's going to be very basic, and the idea is it's supposed to help you like check your work, not do your work for you. Obviously, you could do that. That would be a bad idea because you wouldn't be ready for your exams. But you can definitely use it to check your work, to investigate things, to think about things in different ways, to plot things, to create animations, uh, basically for investigating and kind of checking things out. Okay, what else? I'm gonna probably make another video about this, and yeah, so we'll talk about this during the first week. Also, you're gonna want to take a syllabus quiz. So to do this, you're gonna read the syllabus first. Uh, I have some study guides for exam one. I also have some extra credit. This is where we're going to share our cheat sheets. You don't have to do it. It's worth like 1%, I think, extra credit to the class, but I would definitely suggest it. We'll do that probably the end of the third week or so, something like that, and then the end of the sixth week. And I included here chapters 1 through 5. This is Calculus 1. So we're going to pick up at Calculus 2, which starts with applications of integration. And one of the issues with starting here is that it assumes that you know chapter 5 in Calculus 1. And this is where we are introduced to integration, right? Finding areas underneath curves, finding antiderivatives, the fundamental theorem of calculus, all of that stuff. So I would say in preparation for chapter 6, I highly encourage you to maybe read through the text for chapter 5 if you open this up. In order to open these, you just have to download the Wolfram Player. But once you do that, you can open chapter 5 stuff. Let me actually show you one. Let's see. I can show you how the animations work. So if you download one of these, is it going to let me? Yep. And you open it up. Let me close this. Here's an example of this is made using the Wolfram language, the Wolfram Cloud thing. So I can change the size up here. It's kind of a word processing document. You can read through it. You can open and close sections like so. And it's just basically a textbook, but it's kind of interactive. For example, take a look at this example here, approximating displacement. You've got a velocity function. T is the independent variable, V is the dependent variable. There's the function there, and we're looking at it from 0 to 8. We're looking at finding the displacement, approximate the displacement by on 0 to 8 using n subintervals. This can be kind of hard to understand without some kind of visuals. And the nice thing about this is completely interactive. So you can take these little sliders and buttons and you can play with them. So for example, let's say we want to use 8 subintervals. And what is this? Oh, that's what this would look like using 8 subintervals using the midpoint for the approximation. This would be 4 subintervals. Or if you want to vary it, you can use more and more. And what you'll find is, and you might remember this from Calculus 1, as you use more and more intervals, the area of your rectangle will approach the area underneath the curve, which in this case is the displacement. Okay? All right, so there's a bunch of stuff like this, including 3D ones that are pretty cool. Here's another one. Show you how to use left Riemann sums, right Riemann sums. You might remember this from Calc 1. Midpoint Riemann sums, and then a general Riemann sum where you can use whatever sample point you want. In any case, it's a great textbook. It's we did not have this when I was in college, and I know the guy that wrote this. I've spent some time emulating his work and creating my own stuff, and he's got something great here. So calculus is about the study of motion, and he's brought this textbook alive. So I hope you enjoy it. I know it's summer, but if you can, I would highly encourage you read the textbook. Okay, but at minimum, let me get out of here. I'm gonna close this. At minimum, I would say, here's the lecture videos for chapters 1 through 5. At minimum, I would watch the lecture videos for chapter 5. This will give you a recap of our introduction to integration. And I would say all of those sections are important. This one's going to be helpful for understanding how we're developing all these integrals as you progress in this class, Calc 2, also Calc 3. Like if you get a real solid understanding of how integration works, right? Taking an interval, splitting it up into n pieces, picking a sample point, approximating the area underneath the curve and adding them up and then taking the limit. That idea, if you can get that down, it will help you. I don't know, we're going to do that maybe 10 times in this class in different contexts. But it's all really the same thing. It's just, if you don't learn it well, you're going to feel like you're learning 10 things when really it's just one thing. And if you could study this really well, you're going to see that it's all the same. Same with Calc 3. We do this over and over again. So here's what the videos look like. I put a little time reference here. These are full lecture videos, but you can see they're pretty short. They're pretty good, I would say. Let me show you one. You can see there's some navigation on there. These are production quality, better than I can do. I used to make my own, but students tended to like these better. They're shorter and they get to the point and better animation. So let me show you what it looks like here.
I'm Professor Wisłowski, and in this video, we're going to talk
Let me
about
fast
T
forward
equals
here.
B. Constant velocity equal to V.
So the idea is they'll give you some examples. They'll walk you through some of the theory. And here, we'll just press play here.
Times 1 plus V of 9/2.
Overall, I would say these videos are pretty good. When I need to go back and review something, I watch these videos. Now, it's not going to cover everything that you're going to need to do your homework and the exam stuff, but it'll cover like the key ones, probably 95% of the problems that you have for homework. This will kind of give you the idea of what you need to do. If you want to really understand it, though, I always suggest reading the textbook. The textbook goes into everything in detail. Okay. All right. So again, what I would say is I would watch these videos before class on Monday and see if you can kind of remember this stuff. All of this we're going to be using. So fundamental theorem of calculus, day one. We're going to be doing this too. All of this stuff we're going to be using substitution rule. Okay. All right. So that would be in preparation. What else to do from cloud? Okay. All right. After that, on Monday, we have our first assignment that's due. And like I said, assignments are due about one section per day. I think it's Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday is kind of a catch-up day. So what I have here is basically 1, 2, 3, 4 things for you to work through. Now, you don't have to work through all of them. For example, the e-text, that's just the 6.1 e-text. I would recommend reading it. Can't force you to do it. A lot of students don't, but if you really want to understand it, it's a great book. And it's really helpful to learn how to learn on your own. That way you're not dependent on a teacher. So I highly encourage you. I remember eventually in college, it took me a while to be able to learn from a textbook. But when I got to that point, it was super nice because then I didn't really have to worry about bad teachers, right? So if you want help with that, if you ever want to talk through some of this stuff, I'm at my computer throughout the week and I love talking calculus. So I'll do whatever I can to kind of help you with these ideas if you really want to learn the theory and how to do the stuff, more correctly. Okay. All right. Lecture notebook. So the lectures that you're going to watch, here's one. It's the same lectures I showed you above, but I posted them. This one is 21 minutes long. The idea here is this has replaced the 2.5 hour lecture that you would normally do if you were to come to campus. So it's a huge time saver. We've stripped it down so that it covers just the basics. You don't have to drive to campus, drive back. So you're saving tons of time. I know it's a pain, but I do need you to take notes. And I have instructions for how to take notes here. Click there, it'll take you to a page. This is where you're going to use your mobile app to take pictures and upload them. I know this is a pain, but think of the trade-off here, okay? It definitely beats coming to campus twice a week, all that gas money, all that time. It's only 20 minutes. The nice thing too is you can fast forward, you can rewind to get these ideas. And this is the core ideas for the section. Okay. All right. All right. What else here? Okay. So that's the first thing that you need to do. The next thing you need to do is work on your MyLab problems. So I'll make a separate video for how MyLab works, but this is where you're going to do your homework problems basically. Now, as you work through your homework problems, you can get some extra credit by submitting high quality written work. And I'll explain what that is on the syllabus. This is just extra credit. I do recommend you do it though. I think it's 4%. Yeah, so I think it's 4% extra at the end of the semester if if you do all of these and you do a good job. So it's up 0 to 4% basically. And we'll talk about the requirements for that. I do suggest doing it because the only way to get good at something is to do it. You're going to be taking an exam at the end of the 3rd week, end of the 6th week. And if you do all this stuff on a computer or in your head or use some program, you're going to get really good at doing that. You're going to get really good at doing it on a computer or in your head or whatever. What you need to do is you need to practice writing out the solutions. You need to get practice with writing good, strong notation and making strong logical arguments. All right, so it's up to you. I know this is a 6-week class, so we're going to be moving really fast and it's going to seem like a pain, but when it comes time to study for the exams, you're going to want to have some written work to review. Okay, so it's to your benefit, but if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. All right, it's extra credit. All right, and that's pretty much the format for each of the sections we cover. We will be covering chapter 6, 8, 10, 11, and 12. And so I'll probably leave it at that for now. What else can I say? Oh, okay. Wolfram Cloud, I'll make a separate video about this. Oh, by the way, HTML textbook. If for some reason a student wanted to, like, let's say, take this course and they had a Chromebook, you won't be able to open the CDF files. So you won't get the animations, but there is an HTML version. I put it down here for some reason. I probably shouldn't have, but I'll find a nice place to put this. This is an HTML version of our textbook. No animations, but you can jump around to different chapters. Shoot. Oops. All right. And lastly, oh, yeah, we already talked about that. Okay, so that's everything pretty much on your page. So the big idea is when you guys log into your course here, you come to this page, you are going to find your assignments right there, starting in chapter 6. You'll notice that there are due dates. I wouldn't pay attention to the point values because they're weighted anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, thanks, guys.